Hamilton is playing in Calgary. We take you live to McMahon Stadium. Here are Steve Armitage and Ron Lancaster.
Together, and if you look at the secondary, they lead the league with interceptions as a team, so that's when you're playing together.
And at this point, we'd like to welcome all the stations along the network of the CBC to this game in Calgary. Hamilton against the Stampeders, and a big interception for Hamilton. We're still in the first quarter, no score. Rick Johnson at quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders, and that was his second pass of the ball game, and it was picked off by Paul Bennett and the Hamilton Ticats.
Well, that Hamilton defense has been tough all year.
And again, everyone, I'm Brian Williams, and welcome back to CFL Control in Toronto. The Ticats up by a point at halftime. Coming up, I'll bring you up when he puts the pressure on Hamilton. You see the score. The Ticats up by 1. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this. Continue.
Stadium on Calgary on a beautiful afternoon. The Hamilton Ticats have a 1-point lead over the Stampeders, 14-13. There were two major scoring plays in the opening half and a 1-point run. It looked as if Hamilton were going to blow the Stampeders out of the park.
Sure did. 2 quick turnovers, Paul Bennett's interception, and they only got a single out of that. And then Leo Ezrin brought it down. Hobart, down close to the goal line, does what he does best. Took the quick look, didn't like what he saw. Outruns Culpepper to the outside. Touchdown, 8-0 Hamilton. But the next kickoff, the Stampeders return it into Hamilton territory. And on the first play, Rick Johnson drops back. Emmanuel Talbot straight down the field, 49 yards. He gets a step on Streeter, and they're right back in the ball game. It's 8-7 at that time.
And it looked as if it would be an offensive ball game early in the opening quarter, but then the defenses came back and tightened up, and outstanding for Hamilton was Grover Covington.
Well, he's been their leader with 9 quarterback sacks, but what I want to show you, the main thing about the Hamilton defense, this is the key. We have said over and over they only rush 4 people. You're going to see Sauvé and Covington come from the outside, and that'll force the quarterback to step into this area, and when he does, Price and Mitchell Price, and Mike Walker will make the sack. And that's the way you should rush it. Now let's watch him do it. The first thing we're going to see is Sauvé from this side. Number 88 going upfield. Get upfield. Don't allow the quarterback outside. There's Covington. They force him up in, and sure enough, there are the tackles. And we have talked so much that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have so much confidence in that front 4 of theirs that they only rush 4 people. Very, very few blitzes. So that's great. Good job.
Okay, this is how the scoring went in the first 2 quarters of play. In the first quarter, Hamilton opened the scoring with a single. They came back with that touchdown that you saw from Ken Hobart, and then it was Calgary replying with a touchdown of their own, and then a Calgary field goal from J.T. Hay. That was 10-8. And then in the second quarter, a 29-yard field goal from Bernie Ruoff, followed by a 52-yarder, and then J.T. Hay coming in with a 9-yarder to make it 14-13, and that's the way it stands at the half. Taking a check of the CompuStats out of the first half of play. Notice the turnovers, 2 on each team, and fairly even throughout the game, although Calgary had a little bit more offense than Hamilton did.
A couple of the big plays in that 163 yards for Stampeders through the air were to Talbot, 49 yards for the touchdown. Then he come back late in the second quarter and hit him in that seam again. So those have been the big plays for Hamilton, but for Calgary, the Hamilton offense has just got to get something going. You saw 70 yards of running, 70 yards passing. That's not enough. Just they've got to get something going offensively, and it's a big game for them.
Especially on the heels of Ottawa's 23-7 win over the Montreal Concorde this afternoon. That's Joe Barnes, and we were told by the guy at 13 and move into a second-place tie in the CFL East with the Ottawa Rough Riders. Both of them now with 10 points, only 2 points behind the Montreal Concorde.
You know, you were mentioning a while ago, and I was saying, you know, Al Bruno's going to be very happy with the second place right now, but I know one thing, he's got eyes on first place because of the 2 wins over the Concorde. If he can keep things rolling, he's got a great position right now to finish. You know, they said early in the year they had the tough part of their schedule early. They hit all, you know, the Lions and the Bombers all right away in the first half of the season. And they said they were going to get better as the season went along. And sure enough, it's happened for them. And that's good. A big crowd next week at Ivory Wind when the Eskimos come to town.
Remember how it went for Hamilton last year. They started so slowly, came on strong towards the end, went all the way to the Grey Cup.
Wasn't a bad way to finish it. I know they probably were disappointed in the end result in the Grey Cup, but the main thing, they won the East and got there, and right now they're in a great position to finish first, and that's the ideal thing. You don't have to play that semifinal game, and you're home for the final.
They have now won 4 out of their last 5 games. Al Bruno is on the sidelines. Congratulations, Coach. You've now won 4 out of 5. You're on a roll.
Well, thanks a lot. It's great to have a great defense out there. They won the ball game for us today, and they did a great job on pressing the quarterbacks, picking up the pass, stopping the run, and we just scored enough just to win. But defense, I have to give them plus today for this one.
The only thing you could really be disappointed in, Al, was that your defense, as you say, played so well, and they got them great field position, and you couldn't put it into the end zone.
Right, that's right, Ron. We you know, of course, as a quarterback, you probably know that better than myself. But certainly, we just we couldn't get the 6 points in there. We got good field position, and we had to settle for the field goal.
I think you have to be impressed with the play that George Works had today, and the way he's come on for you as a running back.
Yeah, I'll tell you, George he's a small guy, but he has some guts, and he has a little bit of power with the size, and he made some good runs for us, picked up some good yardage, made some good first downs for us.
Al, we were talking up here that now you're in that second place tie, but I know you have to be thinking seriously with those 2 wins over the Concord that you have the opportunity to finish first. That's number 1 goal, isn't it?
Ron, you know, that's a possibility, I'll tell you. But you know, we're just we were struggling. Now we're winning a few. We're coming back. Defense playing great. If we can still move the ball, we may give that Montreal bunch, Ottawa bunch, or Toronto bunch even run for the money.
Al, give us a few thoughts on your quarterbacking this afternoon, Kenny Hobart.
He was terrible. You know, I told him on the sideline, matter of fact, that was a lousy pass. He agreed.
Sure.
And he was off today, no doubt about it. He picked up the last quarter. Of course, he made some good throws, but overall, he just wasn't hitting the receivers, and he was forced to run it.
You're going to have to be a little more honest with your quarterback, Al. I mean, I agree.
Hey, he knows how I feel.
That's right. You're exactly right, and I know he will agree with you. Quarterbacks know when they're playing well and when they're not. It just wasn't his day, but the main thing is you get the 2 points, right?
That's right, John. All the way around. You got to get the 2 points. I'm satisfied with it. Defense play well. If we can put it together like we have been, hey, we're going to be all right.
Al Bruno, congratulations on a fine victory here in Calgary this afternoon.
Thank you a lot. You guys are doing a great job up here. Keep it up.
Al Bruno and the Hamilton Ticats defeating the Calgary Stampeders 30-13. The Ticats defeat the Stampeders 30-13, and both of our game stars come from the Hamilton Ticats. George Works on offense and Les Brown on defense. First to you, George. You had 95 yards rushing this afternoon for the Ticats. You've got to be pleased with that.
Yes, I am. You know, I was looking forward to a pretty good day. You know, we started out slow. We didn't play with much intensity as we should have to begin with, but we finally pulled together the second half.
Your offensive line seemed to get stronger as the game wore on.
Oh, yeah, they got real strong. You know, they picking up the blitzes and leading us in the hole real, you know, opening up big holes for us.
George, I always ask running backs this question. Every running back that I've met or known feels that the more they carry the ball and the more they can go into that line, the better they're going to be by the end of the game. Is that the way you like to work?
Yes, that's the way it is, because the more it goes along, you get the feel of the floor of the game, you know, and you just get the feel of it, and you just get in a certain type of groove, and you just go with it.
Well, you had things going for you today. I tell you what, you did a great job coming out of the backfield on the passes. Your offense wasn't able to put it in to the end zone, and then finally that last drive, it just looked to me like you got together and said, hey, the heck with it, we're going to run it down their throats. Is that right?
That's what we did. That's exactly the attitude we had. You know, we had to get together because we knew it wasn't over yet. We had to get a 7 points on the board.
Did you detect a weakness in the middle of that Stampeder defense towards the end?
Yes, we did, because it seemed like they were sending a strong side flow to the wide side of the field, and that left things open in the middle.
George Works, the offensive game star. Now let's move on to the defensive game star today. Les Brown with his 2 interceptions. Les, you have 8 on the season. You're tied with Darnell Clash for the most in the CFL in that department.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Tied with Paul Bennett. Me and Paul's been having a race and seeing who can get the most interceptions.
35 interceptions by the defensive secondary, and I know this. Every defensive back that I've ever known always feels that the defensive line is what credits those interceptions. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, I would agree very much, because when they get the pressure on the quarterback, The quarterback doesn't have time to take his second and third reads, and he has to get the ball away as soon as possible. And our defensive line has been great all year. They've been coming hard. We have everybody. When someone gets tired, we even have people to come in and back them up and come in there hard.
You guys play a lot of the zone defense. Do you like it when you switch it up and go man-to-man coverage?
Yeah, because I like man-to-man myself. A lot of zones, sometimes you have to pay more attention to just one person, and it kind of confuses you sometimes. Like on the interception I got, the first interception I got kind of confused. I was staying over too long with my wide out, and then Talbert ended up in the middle of the field all by himself, and I had to get over there somehow, and I just ran as hard as I could.
Let's take a look at that interception in the third quarter. Maybe you can tell us what happened.
Well, right now, like I said, the guy was going to run out, and then after I saw he's running out, he turned up, and I just happened to turn with him and get up in the air and get the ball.
Well, congratulations, Les, on a fine effort to you and George Works, the offensive and defensive game stars from the game here in Calgary this afternoon. Hamilton 30-13 winners over the Calgary Stampeders, and that's a big win for Hamilton, putting them into a tie for second place in the East.
Well, I'll tell you, they have to be very pleased, and as Al Bruno said, when they get things rolling their way, they're going to give every team in the East, and I believe not just in the East, they're going to get the Eskimos next week and have a win, and they better be ready to play when they come into Hamilton.
Okay, we'll be back a little later here in Calgary, but right now we're going to CFL 85 Control and Brian Williams. Man Stadium, Hamilton began it with a single and then a touchdown, followed by the Calgary touchdown and a J.T. Hay field goal. In the second quarter, it was a couple of Hamilton field goals, followed by a Calgary field goal, making it 14-13. Then in the third quarter, again, the field goal kicking of Bernie Ruoff made the difference for the Hamilton Ticats, run that score up to 20-13. And then the final touchdown of the game, Dave Graffey, followed by another field goal to make the final count 30-13. Statistically, and the big stat has to be turnovers. 7 by the Calgary Stampeders. And, Ronnie, I was a little surprised that Hamilton weren't able to generate more offense off of those turnovers.
Well, I think Coach Bruno hit the nail on the head. Ken Hobart didn't have a great day. And anytime your offense doesn't move the football and put the points on the board, the quarterback will always take the blame because that's his job.
Well, let's take a look at the touchdowns right now.
Sure, let's take a look at them. Why not? We had a Ruoff field goal for a single, then a Leo Esmond's interception set up this run by Ken Hobart. You see, he just outruns Culpepper to the corner, builds up the score, gives them an 8-0 lead. But right away, a great kickoff return by Hopkins, brings it back down the field, and Rick Johnson just steps back, finds Emmanuel Talbert behind Mark Streeter, 49 yards, he lays it in, it makes the score 8-7. No more touchdowns till late in the game, and this is when the Ticats took the ball and ran it down their throat, and they get down to the 4-yard line, a little play action fake that works, and out in the flat is Graffey, nothing to it. That capped it. That made it 30-13, and the Ticats walk away with it.
And, of course, the big 2 points that moved Hamilton into a second-place tie in the Eastern Division of the CFL with the Ottawa Rough Riders. Both have 10 points, and Montreal lead with 12 points. Thank you very much, Ronnie. Enjoyed working with you this weekend.
Pleasure.
Now let's go back to CFL 85 Control and Brian Williams. Brian?
All right, thank you, Steve. I know it has been a busy weekend for you fellas. Jim Marshall, Ron Harrison, our producer and director, along with Steve and Ron, flying this morning from the game in British Columbia, but a good job today in Calgary. Hamilton winning. Let's show you the Western Conference standings. Really, the big change occurred there Friday and last night when Winnipeg lost in Toronto. BC beat Saskatchewan last night. Let's show you the Eastern standings. And Steve alluded to the fact that the Toronto Argonauts are now back in last place. Ottawa and